With a bit of elbow grease, I levered up the window frame. Pressed against the inside wall was a dusty desk covered in spiderwebs, and to top it, one thing lay undisturbed, a small folded document which I picked up, along with an inadvertent eight-legged companion. Ugh. Ghost stories and haunted treasures I could handle, but spiders gave me the creeps. It was a riverboat captain's license belonging to a Captain Knott, but the space for a photograph was empty. Cluck, cluck, buck, 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 cluck. I tried to persuade the chicken to come outside, but clearly I was out of cluck. The wood was old and rotting. It wasn't going to be of any use. And who knew what critters might have made their homes inside the pile? Despite its obvious age, the water wheel was still turning. I couldn't get near it, and that was probably a good thing if I didn't want to get dragged under by the current. The inside of the lumber mill smelled like sawdust and grease. Judging from the overgrown weeds, it clearly hadn't been used in a long time, and yet the lights remained on. I picked up the auger from the tool shelf. If I touched the grease with my bare hands, I'd be spending hours trying to wash it off. The beam looked to be driven by the water wheel outside. From the multitude of wires fanning out from the top, it was presumably hooked up to a generator. I looked over the machine, but I couldn't find a way to turn it on, if it even still worked. I didn't want to touch it. I hadn't seen something with that many scary-looking teeth since Old Lady Malloy's German Shepherd got loose on my 10th birthday. The hatches were locked. From their shape, I deduced they were for storing lumber, and I wasn't in need of any 2x4s. The saw blades were rusted, dull, and would surely have precipitated the need for a tetanus shot. The electrical safety of the panel looked questionable. I wasn't going to touch it. I tried the door, but it was locked. As I picked up the bottle, I anticipated what could be inside. A brine-stained treasure map, perhaps, or a scribbled plea from a castaway desperately awaiting rescue. Looking inside, I found it was empty. The only writing on it was the embossed glass letters of the Orangello Soda Company. The church door was locked. The inside of the church was silent and still. Hello.
Yeah! God darn it! Don't sneak up on people like that! You frighten the dying daylights out of me.
He looked at me like he'd seen a ghost. Sorry, you seem a little jumpy.
I thought you were that pesky little girl again.
A little girl? That doesn't seem like a reason to be scared.
She's a terror! One of these days she's gonna give me a heart attack. Last week, she showed up with a doctor's note she'd forged, saying a man I'd buried that day was just a very deep sleeper. 7 hours I was out here digging him back up, at my age.
And was he sleeping?
Dead as a dodo. Just like that little girl will be if I get my hands on her. Yeah, who are you anyway?
My name's Murphy McCallan. I've just arrived on the island.
Well, welcome, Mr. Murphy. I'm Edgar Kettle. Gravedigger, undertaker, coffin maker, and anything else that needs doing to keep this cemetery running.
I'm looking for the treasure of Belmore Manor.
Oh, a treasure hunter. Well, let me tell you something, young man. Don't even think about digging up my graveyard. There's no treasure buried here, and I'm already busy enough filling in the holes that are supposed to be here.
Do you know anything about the disappearance at Belmore Manor?
I think it's important to let the dead rest in peace.
But what if they're not in peace?
Well, you got me there. Listen, I think there's more to that story than meets the eye. You know the 3 brothers went missing, right? Well, if you ask me, I think Abigail Belmore was behind it. She was engaged to a sailor, but nobody like her would go for a commoner.
She might have loved him.
She could have loved somebody with a big bank account, too. I think she must have been using him, pretending to love him so he'd do her dirty work for her, bumping off her brothers. Then afterwards, she drops him and goes to marry the officer of the company. Fiendish.
Do you have any proof?
Yeah, just a feeling, that's all. But when you work with cadavers, you kinda get a sixth sense about things.
What do you think was behind the disappearance?
Well, the sailor must have found out he was being manipulated, right? Done something to get his revenge.
What do you think he did?
Nobody knows. He could have been working his way through those bodies like a madman. All we know is that everyone in that house disappeared. To tell you the truth, I'm quite relieved they did.
Why's that?
Because if they hadn't disappeared, it would have been this old fool who had to bury him. Saved me a lot of work.
Did you make this coffin?
I sure did. But this is no more than a pauper's coffin by anyone's standards. The finest a parish pension can buy. Lock them in lumber, leave them to slumber, that's what I say. This'll end up 5 feet under by the end of the night.
I thought it was supposed to be 6 feet.
You're not the one doing the digging. 5 feet means I get a tea break.
Have you got any spare coffin nails?
No, I don't have any to spare. I've got a backlog of bodies begging for burial. But does the parish increase my funding? Nope. The roof's leaking, my table's broken. I've used floorboards to build some of the coffins. Take my advice. Don't go into this line of work. Undertaking is a dying business.
Do you think I could fit inside the coffin?
Probably not. The gentleman inside might make it a bit of a squeeze.
You mean there's a dead guy inside there?
There better be. I can't afford to be burying empty coffins.
Was the little girl named Mallory Wisp by any chance?
That's her. The peril in a pinafore. She got the whole town thinking I was burying people prematurely. I walked past the school the other day, and they'd made up a jump rope chant about me.
Oh, what was the chant the school children made up about you?
Edgar, crazy feller, just be careful, he don't get you. How many bodies did he strive to bury while they're still alive?
1, 2, 3, 4.
I wasn't looking for audience participation.
Sorry, I got carried away. Just like you with the burying. Have you ever accidentally buried someone who was still alive?
Has someone been making accusations again?
No, just making conversation.
Well, not that I know of. When you think about it, how would I know?
Shouts for help, desperate shaking of the coffin.
Look, I haven't sealed anyone up who was chatting with me, let's put it that way. I usually check for signs of life, but everyone takes shortcuts sometimes, don't they? I deserve some rest in peace, too.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Hopefully not the guy in the coffin.
Not funny.
I best be running along.
Don't drop dead. I don't want anything else on my to-do list.
A mischievous idea began to form in my mind. Hey, I think the guy inside here might still be alive.
And why would you think something like that?
The coffin was just shaking around. Maybe you should open it up.
Well, I didn't see it move.
The gravedigger had me in a conundrum. I could hardly start shaking it right in front of his eyes.
And unless the body inside starts jiggling around, I'm not opening up that coffin.
The coffin lid had been nailed down securely. I wasn't going to be able to open it. The tin was full of nothing but holes. I didn't need to warm my hands on the stove. It was already a humid night, and the fire was more useful at keeping bugs away from the shack than keeping anyone toasty. It was a pair of handheld bellows used for stoking a fire. I scanned the headstones for anything of note, but didn't know what I was searching for. I couldn't see any way to open the crypt door. Not a doorknob, not a keyhole. Whoever sealed this up intended to seal it up for good. It was a small leather pouch with a drawstring used for magic spells. Currently, it was empty.
Hurry up with the barrels, Morris. We gotta get these unloaded before anyone sees us.
Are you sure this is a good idea, Musket? I don't think we should be using a church as our hiding place.
You're not being paid to think, Morris. You carry those barrels in here and let me worry about the theological implications. This place has been abandoned for decades. There's nobody around.
Nobody living, maybe. What if there's ghosts, boss?
Darn it, Morris. If brains was dynamite, you wouldn't have enough to blow your nose. Now get unloading. And keep an eye out for anyone snooping around.
What if someone catches us?
If anyone asks, we're the new clergy. We tell them these barrels are full of communion wine.
I thought we was rum runners, not wine runners, boss.
Communion rum den.
Ah, gotcha.
Remember, St. Juniper's Church is a place to get closer to God. And if anyone questions our alibi, we make sure that happens.
The pair of rum runners looked like the human personifications of the dish and the spoon from Hey Diddle Diddle, the gangly spoon bossing around the rotund dish as it carried barrels effortlessly from the jalopy and into the church. As it turned out, nursery rhyme characters become a lot more intimidating once they have revolvers. I could see the shadows of the rum runners moving around inside the church, but I didn't want to get too close in case they saw me too. The barrels were far too heavy for me to lift, though that gorilla of a rum runner had been picking them up like they were cotton balls. The jalopy door was locked. How ironic that the rum runners would take care not to be the target of criminality. Hello, Edgar.
Yeah!
Do you know there were a couple of gentlemen up by the church?
Rum runners, they are. Dealing with them is not in my job description. As long as they don't mix up the stiffs I'm burying with the stiff drinks they're smuggling, I'm keeping my nose out. Curiosity killed the cat, you know, and I really miss Mittens.
I best be running along.
Goodbye.
Using the auger, I drilled a small hole in the barrel, and out poured rum. I filled the bottle with rum pouring from the barrel. Relief washed over me at the realization that I'd done it without getting caught by the two rum runners.
Hey, Musket! There's someone out here!
Or so I thought.
Hey, fella, what do you think you're doing snooping around here? This is our church, you know, and it's closed.
I'm just here to do some praying. Mainly praying that I get out of this situation without a puncture wound.
He's being a wise guy, Musket.
Time to fill him full of lead.
But boss, it's bad luck to bump someone off in a churchyard.
Now, where'd you hear a nonsensical thing like that?
I thought churches was hallowed ground, where sin and immorality would face supernatural punishment in this world or the next.
Where do you get this stuff from? I told you, I do the thinking in this partnership.
I poured the rum into the gree-gree. The stories about Belmore Manor are true. I saw the ghost bride inside the house.
Blast it, Murphy. Don't say I didn't warn you. This island has had its fair share of the macabre. The best way to deal with it is to leave well enough alone. Why are you searching for that treasure anyway?
Well, it's my job. The state's claim on that money runs out at 8 a.m., and I'm supposed to find it.
You seem pretty passionate about something that's just for work. What are the odds you draw an assignment like that?
Well, I might have made my own luck there. They wouldn't normally authorize an investigation so close to the statute of limitations running out, especially on a 30-year-old cold case. But thrust a stack of forms in front of the boss 5 minutes before clocking off on a Friday afternoon, and he doesn't care what he's signing.
Let's just hope he wasn't signing your death warrant.
Most of my investigations don't amount to more than counting paper clips in a municipal building or going cross-eyed over receipt rolls in a courthouse. When I found that old case folder tucked behind the filing cabinet, its only lead a water-stained magazine talking about a real-life haunted house, how could I pass it up? You didn't tell me the Spirit Queen was a riverboat.
Oh, sure. That thing's been moored up in the bayou with her keel kissing the mud for years. Witch doctor lives aboard her now. Claims to sell all manner of hoodoo and voodoo. But to believe that, you need to be dumber than the Bachelor in New Orleans, throwing beads at the Sisters of Mercy.
I spoke with Dr. Moray. He thinks we can make contact with the ghosts.
Moray is a charlatan and a fool. Only got into hoodoo and voodoo a few years ago. Before that, he was an actor over at the Calliope Theater, and not a very good one. He's the only person I know who directed and starred in a one-person production of The Pirates of Penzance. And that's because all the rest of the cast dropped out rather than work with him. He's always been searching for respect and recognition. Who would have known he found it by living in the swamp and reeking of incense?
Don't you believe in voodoo?
I certainly do. I just don't think Moray's got any more control of it than the rooster has control of the sunrise. His understanding of voodoo amounts to whatever he's gleaned from one of those horror pictures Ventura Studios puts out at the movie palace. My mama used to know all about it. God rest her soul. Voodoo isn't some made-up Hollywood magic, Mac. Voodoo's a real religion. It's about community, about belonging, and about searching for something more than flesh and blood. It's not the snake oil he peddles.
What do you think happened at Belmore Manor?
Now there's a tale I don't like to tell.
Can I persuade you to tell it anyway?
I have a feeling I ain't gonna get any rest until I do. You know about Miss Belmore, the bride, engaged to the sailor? Nah, the way I hear, Mr. Rackham was over the moon with her. Such an upstanding fellow. I won't have a bad word said against him. Now he realized that the sailor was going through terrible lengths to ensnare his bride, and Mr. Rackham tried to save her. I heard that the sailor caught on to this and tricked Rackham into giving the lady a gift. That's what made everything go topsy-turvy.
What was the gift?
There are places in the Caribbean that trade things more elusive than gold. Ungodly things.
Do you think the disappearance was caused by voodoo?
And that's what my mama used to say. If you're not careful, that stuff can go to your head.
No luck fishing?
Not a bite, Mac. The Pengoza fish just ain't snapping for me today. Shame, too, because I'm planning on firing up my grill later. And then the tastiest catch in these waters.
How do you catch a Pencosa fish?
With hours of patience and decades of practice. You ever wrestled the rod before?
Just the once. I went fishing on Lake Erie, but the only thing I caught was a cold. What do you do with the fish you catch?
A couple I save for myself, and the rest I sell to the captain's club. They fancy them up with lemon lobsters, slawfish, something or other. But everyone knows the best way to cook them is to grill them.
Why won't you hear a word against Mr. Rackham?
He gave me my first work on this island, right here on these docks. And I'm still here to this day. He may have worn a scowl, but you don't judge a banana by its peel with people like him, Mac. When I looked into his eyes, all I saw was ambition.
What work did you do?
Loading and unloading the ships that came in. Of course, they just don't do that anymore. Dead Nettle's a forgotten town. Maybe that's for the best.
Catch you later, Ned.
See you around, Mac.
What do you think of my fish?
That's a whopper. Hang it on the scale and let's see what it weighs. Doubt it'll be Squib's record, though. Mac, does that say what I think it does? You been holding back on me. That breaks Squib's record.
Squib?
Jebediah Squibb, the Cajun catcher he calls himself. Last week at the Dead Nettle Docks, Squibb caught the heaviest Pencosa on record. Got his photograph on the front page of the newspaper and everything.
McAllen! How does it feel to have decimated the town record in your first few hours on the island?
How did you hear about this so fast?
It's my job to know about things fast. Now, I'm asking the questions here. Where'd you get the fish, McAllen?
Well, it was a mighty battle on the southern coast. Its fins strong as a motor, its mouth as fierce as a tiger's. I paused dramatically to allow my fishing prowess to wash over them.
What rod did you use?
Wooden one?
I mean, what make?
You know, I didn't use a rod.
You caught the fish without a rod?
It was more one-on-one. Mono fisho.
You wrestled a fish?
And I won.
Well, as much as it pains me to say it, you're the cover story in the next edition of the Juniper Parish Gazette. And this is why I'm not getting a Pulitzer.
I've got to hand it to you, Mac. That fish is a whopper. I don't know how you got it, but as long as it keeps Squib quiet at the porch party tomorrow, I ain't complaining.
Hey, Ned, do you mind if I borrow your knife?
If you need it, Mac, just bring it back to me later tonight, would you? If I'm lucky with my catch, I'll be firing up the grill. You're invited to join me, of course.
Murphy! Have you seen the cover of the evening edition? I think we caught your personality perfectly in that photograph. Naive, simple, unsophisticated. Makes it all the more surprising that you actually accomplished something.
I wonder if I should have it framed.
That'll cost you.
I remember your trick with the telegram.
Hey, it's nothing personal. Your business is my business, and my business is news. I'm Evelyn Stoker, editor of the Juniper Parish Gazette. No misdeed left unshared, no drama left unmonetized. Come on, work with me here, McAllen. I need something juicy. Committed any crimes? Uncovered any affairs? Any deep, personal secrets to reveal?
The honest-to-God truth? No.
I need a good story. I can't let something minor like the truth stand in the way of that.
I picked up the scissors. With her stunt at the bayou, I figured she owed me one. I picked up the twine. Maybe she owed me two.
Don't even think about it. The spring on that printing press looks like it's going to blow at any moment.
I didn't want to get ink all over me trying to carry the canister around.
Hey, those cost money, you know.
But it has my photograph on it.
The Do Not Serve board down at Spinelli's bar has my photograph on it, but that doesn't mean I can just pick it up and walk out with it, does it?
I'd like to buy a newspaper.
Finally, I get something out of you loitering in here. That'll be 1 cent, please.
I picked up the newspaper. The fewer people that saw it, the better. I placed the dime into the gree-gree. That would work as the silver coin. Carefully, I cut my photograph out of the newspaper. It was the photograph of myself I'd cut out of the newspaper. I wish I'd posed better. It was the photograph of myself I'd cut out of the newspaper. I wish I'd posed better. The back wall of the newspaper office was filled with filing cabinets. From the labels on the front, they looked to be archived issues of the Juniper Parish Gazette. Hanging on a peg at the far side of the room was a battered flashbulb camera.
Yes?
Hi! What are you working on?
One of the most romantic articles this newspaper's ever seen. Francois Fogg, Dead Nettle's local pharmacist, is reuniting with his long-lost love after 14 years apart, thanks to this newspaper's personal ads column.
What a lovely story.
That's right. She mailed in a letter she wanted printed. Her former sweetheart saw it, and now they're on track to see each other again. Eventually.
Eventually?
Well, that's a bit of an administrative issue. In the letter we received, she told him to meet her in her Texas hometown of Magnolia. Due to a tiny typesetting error, he's now on a 6-week voyage to Mongolia. But doesn't it warm your heart how far people will go for love?
Don't you have more interesting stories to write about?
The crackpots this island calls a population wouldn't know something interesting if they paid for it, which they hardly do. Believe me, I've tried to get juicier stories. Scouring the island, doorstop interviews, hiding under windows.
You eavesdrop on people through their windows?
It's called investigative reporting.
I'm doing some research on the treasure of Belmore Manor.
Have you found it?
Well, no, not yet. I've just started looking.
Then don't waste my time. Come back when you've got the goods.
You might not believe this, but I saw a ghost inside Belmore Manor.
You know what? You're right, McCallan. I don't believe it. Really? You've been on this island how long? And you're already starting to sound as loopy as a local.
Have you ever written an article on the disappearance at Belmore Manor?
What a waste of column inches. Leave it. That's my advice. There's no story in it.
No story?
Not one that anyone would believe. And I've got advertisers breathing down my neck.
What do you think went on?
Practically everyone on this island thinks there was some kind of sorcery involved. No one is looking at the reality. If I write up my research, no one on the island will believe me. If I write their wackadoodle theories, I'll be laughed out of the industry.
You can tell me what you've uncovered about Belmore Manor. Trust me, at this point, few things would surprise me.
I heard the Belmore Trading Company was losing revenue, its profits eaten up by who knows what ventures those brothers had going on. I've seen the records. The company was privately owned, sure, but when you've got pressure building and the sharks are circling, you've got to shore up your defenses. I think that's why the Belmores persuaded Abigail to marry John Rackham.
Marry someone she didn't love?
But he didn't love her either. He was just after the company, so he hires the sailor to seduce her, convince her there's more to life than Devil's Rock. And as soon as she marries Rackham, they split, never to see each other again. He inherits the lot, and she disappears with her lover boy sailor to who knows where.
But why do you think all the guests disappeared?
They bumped them off to cover their tracks. Either one of them could have been sunning it up in Sarasota ever since. But imagine me writing that into a piece of serious journalism.
Did you know Comptroller Grimes?
How could I forget him? The guy was a walking, talking migraine generator.
Surely you shouldn't speak of the dead like that.
Why not? I spoke plenty worse about him when he was alive. Anyway, I'm sure everything happens for a reason, and hopefully that reason is to increase my circulation numbers. Everything's connected, you know? Have you ever heard of the butterfly effect? I suspect it works for moths, too, because I can never get the damn things out of here. Some people say that if a man breaks wind in Alabama, it can cause a hurricane in Fiji.
I think I shared a train car with that guy on my way here. I think I better be going.
Keep your eyes peeled for a story, McAllen. There are secrets on the island, and it's my job to run advertisements next to them.